Hey guys, I am Chris Kaler.
And I'm Amber Frostaka Jean Cosplay, and today we are back at you guys with Viking.
Yeah, still saying goodbye to the show with some tributes to basically make it official that we're done with the show.
Yeah, and this time we're gonna watch some about IVAR.
Yes, IVAR the Boneless, I'm afraid, by VCreations again. This one was recommended to me over and over and over again, so it had to be in there. I know a lot, I had other recommendations for IVAR, and we decided to do 3 tributes, one about Bjorn, one about IVAR, and one about the whole journey. We are still kind of maybe looking for one for Lagatha if we find one that people, you know, really want us to watch, but other than that, I chose to go with this one because it was the most recommended, and hopefully it's good. I have no doubt it's going to be good actually, because it's, I mean, last one was great, so I'm guessing this one will be just as great. It's very fresh in our minds, the death of IVAR and stuff, so I can't guarantee that we won't be sad, but I'm pretty sure we won't be crying messes, so I say we jump into this and see the magic happen.
Alright.
Let's go.
Apart from my mother, I've never really known what it is to be loved.
The old haircut for him too.
My father left me outside to die when I was a baby because I was a cripple.
Who's the cripple?
All my life has been a struggle. A war against myself.
Forget that thing. Just crawl.
Everyone has always treated me first as a cripple.
Sad, poor Ivar. Ivar? He's just a cripple. He's a cripple.
All my life, you have been suffocating me, paying me so much special attention. Why, Ivar?
We all feel pity for you. We accept what you are.
Poor Ivar.
Poor Ivar.
I am normal.
To be a son of Ragnar Lothbrok
You are the son of Ragnar Lothbrok.
Don't you ever forget that, Ivar?
and to find greatness. That is hard. You are destined for great things.
Don't you realize that? That is when greatness will happen.
I thought your legs were a weakness. I was wrong. Your legs are giving you a strength. A strength that even your brothers don't have. Your father is dead. Killed by serpents. What?
Oh.
One day, I will kill you, Lagatha. I can never forgive Lagatha for murdering our mother. How can you? How can you? Our mother! You must have revenge.
Of course I'm going to kill her!
Ivar.
Ivar! Ivar! Our father would have hated you for sundering and splitting his family. If Ivar wins, Ragnar's dreams are lost.
His real legacy is safe with me.
One of the better actors in the show, of course.
I don't think my destiny lies here. I have other ambitions to do. It's an unfinished business.
Everyone will always underestimate you. You must make them pay for it. Be ruthless.
I played chess with Prince Alfred. And now I would like to play chess with him again.
Greetings.
Only this time, on the battlefield.
Play the game very well, Ivar. You have many gifts. And the gift what is in here is a gift.
Why do you want to change the tactics? Do you want to win?
You do
He
not
did
think
was
like other men.
really smart.
You are unpredictable. Why are the rats
And
above
ruthless.
ground? What are you going to do?
I'm going to cripple them.
Oh
Use
boy.
your anger intelligently. And I promise you, my son, that one day the whole world will know and fear Ivar the Boneless.
One day it's true. I will die. But when they dig up my bones, I want them to say,
The
here
story
is
was
the grave.
so well
The
crafted.
most famous Viking who ever lived. You know who I am?
Oh, I know who you are.
Of course.
Ivar the Boneless, son of Ragnar Lothbrok. From the skewers of York to the Silk Rose, your name is legendary. And many there are who fear you.
He's the strongest, most violent man I have ever known.
Your eyes have turned deep blue, Ivar. You know what that means, remember?
You still claim to be Vikings. Then act like Vikings. Come Come with me and conquer King Alfred for the love of fame and for the love of Odin. The gods are with us. Come with me and conquer England and all of its riches. Be like the gods and reach for my
He also gives amazing speeches every fucking time.
Son of Ragnarok. And many there are that fear you. Don't be afraid. One day, everyone will know of Ivar the Boneless.
No one in this world has ever done for me what you have done for me.
No one has ever cared for me the way you have cared for me. Sweet child, do not weep. I am here now.
The
I
way that the
think you saw
human.
something of yourself in me.
My divine Pelter, I cannot allow you to suffer like I have suffered throughout my life. My heart is broken.
You saved me. You have been everything to me. I love you. I always will.
You've changed. We never really changed. We just ain't that with you. You've changed. Mother, I love you. I love you.
And I love you.
Sorry.
Brother. His name is Ivar. He's my brother.
Why couldn't we have more of this?
Not in spite of your legs.
Because it was Vikings.
Come on, Ducky. Come on, Ducky. Why do you hunt me so?
Your eyes are blue, Iron. That's it. That's it, Iron. I love you. I love you, brother.
Why do you keep returning? But I'm happy to see you. Truly happy to see you.
He's still standing.
Not to make a joke.
Um,
Another fucking great review.
I do remember that one of you guys, one of the comments that Ivar, because we did say that during the show, he technically didn't show any vulnerability with his brother. You did say in the comments, guys, that many times he did show he cried, he was vulnerable, but once
With
again,
his brothers?
I want to say not really with his brothers. He was vulnerable with people who he knew that he'd have to be to appear strong, like Margaret at the beginning, Freydis, his mom, Floki, because Floki was the one that he considered as a father figure, someone who didn't have to put on a mask.
He was vulnerable with the people he thought he didn't have to make proud because they were already proud of him. The ones that already cared or the ones that already showed him kindness. Not that his brothers did not show him kindness, but I feel like he...
But with his brother, he is Ivar the Boneless. He is the youngest from all of the Song of Ragnar.
And he's crippled.
He's crippled. He needs to be a man like his brother, to be strong like his brother, to be able to be with a woman like his brother.
It was pride, you know. In a culture where you being a great fighter and provider and you having kids and stuff was so valued, he was at a disadvantage. There were so many scenes. I mean, it was highlighted a lot in this and greatly. I feel like the entire story of Ivar was so well crafted, especially when put into focus like that. But basically we had great scenes of him, saying, you say I'm just as strong and stuff, but I'm never going to be as strong as you unless I can, stand on the same ground, unless I can be on the same level.
Yeah.
He always felt different. He always felt less. And so he always felt he had to fight more to prove himself. Even though, and I don't think it's something that you can get rid of that easily. As soon as, you achieve things that make you great, just as great as your brothers, you still want to do more. You still want to be greater and do even more achievements, because you're never going to see yourself as the same as the others because you're crippled, because of your status, because of how people will see you and how they will judge you. Mm-hmm. I think it was very important for him in his life to have people like Ragnar, Floki, and, even though I hated that art, Freydis, to tell him that you have been chosen. You're strong. This is not a weakness. This is your strength. You turn it into your strength because it gives you the motivation to push forward and achieve more because of that. So you're better. You're something to be reckoned with. I think he needed that because this is what he kept with him the entirety of the show. In the entire story, he kept those words with him, and that's what pushed him forward. And yes, it's true sometimes he did, he started being so obsessed with those words that he started sounding condescending. He started sounding, too full of himself. I'm a god, I'm better, I'm IVAR the Boneless. Like he built himself up to be something he wasn't.
Let's be honest though, during that arc of IVAR storyline, Freydis was really good at manipulating his mind,
but what I'm saying,
into believing that he was that much important.
That time, yes, but overall, it's not the only time he's been saying, I am, the one who's, when he killed Bjorn, I'm the one who will carry on Father's legacy. I'm the one that he gave that job to. He basically always put himself on that pedestal, because if he didn't, he'd be right back on the ground as a cripple, and he couldn't afford to do that. It would have destroyed him. Mm-hmm. So whether you believe or not that he deserved all of that, whether you believe or not that he was meant to carry Ragnar's legacy, again, I said it with Bjorn, I'll say it with Ivar too, again, sorry. I feel like Ivar, what matters with them is how he saw himself, and how he thought he had to present himself in order to keep going. It's not about if Ragnar gave him or not the legacy to carry on his own. It's about how he thought he had to carry it.
You know what? I think that the main difference or resemblance between the nickname that Bjorn and Ivar received, like you got Bjorn Aaron's side, he cannot be vulnerable because he's favored by the god. He cannot be human. And you got Ivar the Boneless.
Yes.
He's weaker than a human. He's less than a human. He's like,
yeah. Whereas
he deserved to be on the ground, so people will look down on him.
Yeah. Whereas Bjorn's nickname forced him to never give up, to never be less than what they thought he was, which was probably a huge weight. Ivar's nickname also put a huge weight on his shoulders, but for completely different reasons, because it basically portrayed him as nothing. It portrayed him as weak, as no one of importance, no one you should worry about. And because of, I think, compared to Bjorn whose name basically did the same thing as Ragnar's legacy, pushed him to always try to be do his best, because he had to keep that story going. I think Ivar's nickname clashed with Ragnar's legacy because he had to prove them wrong he had to erase one in order to carry the other.
You know what? I think in a way it is funny though, because Bjorn's nickname technically forced him to always stand his ground, always stand up, and to never rest basically. And on his death, he's still standing on his horse.
Yeah.
You got Ivar with his name, who always push him down, and he has to work hard to stand up. And at the end of it, at his death, he basically fell on the ground again.
Well, he did. Well, yeah, he was dying.
But his crush is still standing.
Basically,
Crush is
well,
still
just like a
standing.
sword, it was his sword.
Yeah.
It was his. It was his strength
Yeah.
because it pushed him to do things that others would not have done. He had to think more because he couldn't fight more. He had to push more and present himself strong as a stronger person.
That-
Suffer more in order to do more.
That's one of the things that I liked about IVAR is mine, because I think from many plan that we saw, many strategies, I've always preferred what he came up with. The battle at York, the battle in Wessex, the
York.
last fight at the end of the show.
His
I think
strategies were always
strategies
fucked.
were always so thought out and just great to watch. And
it
I
was
think
entertaining.
I think that maybe that's why I disliked so much when he was blinded by this god image he had of himself with Freydis
Yeah.
at his side.
Well, we can both agree that we did not like that arc.
No.
I think what makes me maybe like Ivar more than Bjorn, for example, is that again with the nicknames and stuff and the legacies, where Bjorn had to fight to prove people right, Ivar had to fight to prove people wrong, and it hits different. You know, he basically had to earn the respect he got. He had to earn everything, the strength of his people, the support of his people, which he got completely at the end because he was fighting through them. He was connecting with all the Vikings. He was representing the strength in every single Viking that used to mock him. Whereas Bjorn was forced to get a great nickname, a great legacy right away, and he had to keep it up despite his mistakes. You basically, and which is, I mean, it's an incredible storyline in it on its own. I think I just connect more with Ivar's for sure about, you know, how a guy was basically told you're never going to amount to nothing, and he had to build everything from ground up. Considering the odds, you know, and stuff, he managed to do miracles. He became someone that people will never forget. It's true, he did get that legacy and that legend, and considering he was never given a chance to begin with, it's pretty amazing. So yes, it's true. Sometimes he is a bit fucked up. He is a bit too intense, but in a way, he had to be too fucked up and too intense because otherwise, people would only see the cripple. He would be at a disadvantage. So that gave, and I mean, he had so many opportunities to deliver great speeches, and yes, he was disturbing sometimes, but that's all he had. The belief that he was meant for something greater, kind of like his father told him. And I mean, he pushed through with that belief, and he did it. He had so many great moments. Good thing that the actor was good.
I think I do remember like 3 moments during the show that for me
Hit hard.
The first one was
York. I'm
Yeah.
cutting you because York
Yeah.
needs to be in there.
York wasn't there with his speech when he was on the ground saying that you can kill me, I'm IVAR the boneless.
Yeah.
The second one was when he stand up for the first time.
I was thinking the same.
Because man, I mean that guy's gonna be something else. And the last one, I think
It was the look on his brother's eyes, on his brother's faces, though. In
they
that
were
moment.
scared. It's like, oh shit.
We did say he basically had to, you know, make sure he could stand on equal grounds. It's not something that you get from birth. Kind of like Vitserk was always a good fighter, Bjorn was always a good fighter, Uba was always a good fighter. Yeah, they had this from. It's almost like they had this from birth. You know, they were born great, but he made himself great. That's the difference.
And I think, I don't know for you, but this scene kept just popping in my mind when they were training in the woods.
Yes, at the
And
very beginning.
IVAR best them at everything, like with the bow and arrow, at the axe throwing.
Again, because of his weakness. Because considering he couldn't fight like they did, he had to train more. You know, push himself more in order to be the best at those things, because that was the only thing he had. And it shows. I mean, that's the thing with Ivar. He never got the chance to shine on the battlefield the way the others did. Bjorn, for example, Bjorn and Vitserk, their thing was fighting. Like, to watch them fight on the battlefield was chef's kiss. But that's why Ivar had to make up for this lack of ability in other fields. That's why he brought the brains to the fight. That's why he brought the technicalities. That's why he brought the speeches. That's why he brought the spirit. He had everything else.
That's why he brought the
that.
bear traps too.
Yeah, that's why because he couldn't have that.
Yeah.
So he had everything else.
And watching that video reminds me of the hypocrisy between Bjorn and Ivar. When
The hypocrisy between the
yeah,
two.
because technically Lagertha killed Aslog. Not
Yes.
honorably, she shot her in the back, to be
Yes.
frank. And all of the brothers, well, maybe not Uba, Witzer and Sigurd at the beginning, but for Bjorn, no problem with that, of course. But as soon as they killed his mom, everything went, the shit went down, you know?
True, but then twist the tables. If Aslog had killed Lagertha first, pretty sure that Ivar would have reacted like, well, who cares? You know, it's their moms. We can't really expect them not to be angry when they die. We can't expect them to, you know, be sad if the other if your mom is not punished for killing the other, especially. And it's tricky because Lagertha killed Aslog.
Sorry.
Lagertha killed Aslog saying something like, you know, you stole my rightful spot by Ragnar's side, as queen too. Like, you basically... I was supposed to be you. I was supposed to have those kids. I was supposed to have this chance, and you robbed me of that. And she kind of did. It was... I mean, Ragnar made the choice, but she pushed it. And she didn't, you know, she knew he was married and she pushed it, and there was a feud between the two, so we can't really blame Lagertha for wanting to do this. The only thing I can blame her for really is killing her when she had her back turned after she basically said, you know, you can leave. That's the only thing I'm like, girl, that's not honorable at all. So I can't really blame her for hating Aslog, and I mean, people kill each other all the time in this show. It's just that... It's true, it's you know, it's selfish to not understand, or at least to you know, push back your brothers when they want retribution, and then when your mother gets killed, you insist on having retribution, but then you can't blame someone for being selfish when one's mother gets killed.
I know.
Yeah.
I understand the selfishness, but I do find it a little bit hypocrite.
Yeah, well, for sure, but then
From what we saw.
like I said, they all had those moments. They all went crazy a little bit about the scenes that happened and
Yeah.
moments that happened. They were kids, I think, you know, and that's the other side of this tribute, and the other side of Ivar, the human side, the one that cared about kids that, you know, reminded him of himself, the one that wanted to cherish the life of this little baby who he thought was his because he never thought he could have one before, and he got one, and that was, you know, he basically became his entire life, and he had to get rid of him so he would not suffer like he did, and he had to go through that struggle. It's also a kid who lost his parents and still had to keep a strong front, because if he crumbled, he wasn't sure he could get back up, literally.
Yeah.
You know? I know some people say that they don't agree with how we read the final episode about how when he was saying he was afraid, we thought he was afraid of death, whereas you guys are saying, you know, he was afraid of being forgotten, which is a very, very strong possibility considering what Witzer answered and stuff. I still choose to see it as maybe he was also a bit afraid of, you know, well, in a way, afraid of death could also mean, you know, you're afraid of what happens next. You know, being forgotten is also death. So we're all saying the same thing, basically. He was in that moment vulnerable, he was human, and I like that we got to see that side of him here and there, because he kept always trying to portray himself as strong and ruthless and a bit crazy and terrifying, because he had to keep that up in order to stay strong, because it's, like I said, it's the only thing he had. But I really enjoy the fact that we got to see him vulnerable, because we need to remember this. Kind of like we were saying, you know, Bjorn had his mistakes, and he was human. And with Bjorn, we don't like that side of him. We're like, I'd rather focus on the fighter. With Ivar, we focus so much on the fighter that we tend to forget he's human too, and he's got his struggles. But I like that the show really pushed that side of him, the vulnerability. I think the actor did a really good job at showing both sides, and it's what matters, you know, because both sides make Ivar. There would not be the strong side if there was no vulnerable side, because the vulnerable side is what made him try to be stronger.
Yep.
So yeah, very, very well done story, very well done tribute. Again, I mean, I said it all in Bjorn's tribute, but the music, the visuals, everything just fits so well. And again, this show has incredible visuals, incredible speeches, and incredible actors. God damn it, they were amazing. So, I mean, a tribute about them is just perfect.
All right.
So good job, VCreations. The last one we are going to watch is by Zurich, so unfortunately it's not going to be one of yours, but if you watch this,
Next time, maybe.
it's fine. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and we'll see you for the last tribute, unless you find one for Lagertha. Because, I mean, we kind of want to do most of the family.
Yeah.
So, okay, so see ya.
Bye, guys.